Peace, 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 peace. Hope everyone can hear. Um, Give me a second to do a sound check before I continue to go into my introduction. So give me 1 second to catch up. I'm gonna try to get on my other phone. Let's see, can I hear myself? I'm gonna try to get on my other phone. Well, I can, I can, I can. Peace, peace, and welcome to another broadcast of In the Circle Ministries. I'm your host, Rico Blayton, where we take things and put them up under a microscope here on this channel. This is like I said, our virtual YouTube ministry. And then we take things and put them up under a microscope. We see those things for the truth that they are, and then we can take those truths and apply them in our life into the way that we get the results that it promises to. So we can better order and organize our life and spiritual, spiritual, physical, mental growth. We have a thing we call self mastery here as well. And as you grow into your self mastery, you understand that you are the only thing that you can master. Give me 1 second. Oh, okay. Hopefully, trying to get my audio to work where I can hear it in my ear, and it normally does. So, don't know what's going on with my soundboard, but everything is coming through clear. Anyway, but self mastery is the only thing that you can master is yourself. The only thing that can be saved or that can be delivered is yourself. And that comes through trials and experiences of growing within yourself and examining things within yourself and looking at them for truths and not from your own perspective that may be biased. Or you may look into the things with confirmation bias, trying to find the answer that best fits your perspective, your beliefs, and your truths. And those are the things that we put up under the microscope. No matter what the subject matter may be, those things play a part in our life based off those three components, 3 to 4 components. And so you allow your higher consciousness, your higher self to master your lower self. And that's gained and attained through the Christ consciousness or the awareness of your higher consciousness, of having a higher consciousness and the seeing and identifying what the source or the life or the energy or the God that you are, and bringing it back to yourself and being able to identify yourself as that God, as that creator of your life and your life experiences that you experiences through your thoughts, through things that happen based off of your thoughts or things that are brought to you, how you react after those thoughts, all compile your life and the things that you see today. And so, want you to continuously be working on your self mastery, working continuously growing in your self growth and things of that nature. And here shortly, I'll be going on TikTok as well and doing a live and completing recording of the same video here, but I'll also be doing it on TikTok just without this introduction part here. But we will get into the subject matter later on about the strong man in this federal jurisdiction. And talk about a few things up in that subject and that subject matter and what it matters and how it matters and why that knowledge and that understanding is needed to know of because of what's going on. We're trying to live in the private and understand the difference between private and public and living a life absent from the government or bringing yourself out of that jurisdiction, which is something that proponent or taught through the proponents of the straw man. But for now, check out our description section here on this video. I may not have it on the TikTok because it's going to be quick. I probably just put the title there and won't add it into the description and just go live there. But here on TikTok world, we have a description section, and you can find the In the Circle Ministry. And inside of the In the Circle Ministry, in our menu section, you can find the In the Circle University, where we We offer courses and teach about certain things that we've done and have experience in living in the private and separating yourself from the jurisdiction or the uh, uh, from the straw man and delineating that separation and um, having all the right paperwork and all the right things in play to correctly delineate and to show your separation and correction of your status of you being the national American national that you are um, through various processes as the passport process, power of attorney process, and various others. You'll have to go into the and visit the channel or visit the link and go down to the In the Circle Ministry and the In the Circle University to check out everything else that we do have to offer there. There's also a calendar and a way for consultation for those that are already familiar with some of the subject matters and things in there. If you want to know more or become a part of our university, you can donate for the yearly cost that's there, or you can come through with the consultations with questions and thoughts and opinions about anything that we have in there or for any other spiritual nature for counseling and advice as we give out on the channel through our experiences as well there. But go check the site out. Um, and also we have the How to Win in Court Without a Lawyer by Dr. Gray, so you can properly represent yourself. I'm a proponent of there's no one to better defend or properly can defend you and your situation no better than you. Just being able to learn to understand the inner workings of the courts and how they work through federal rules of procedures, through your state, depending on if you're going through the magistrate or if you're going through what we call down here the big court, um, or you're dealing with the federal courts. But learning how to properly operate within the system, how they work, how the courts move, the way of motion, how to write your pleadings and your captions and setting your captions and doing your exhibits and all the components that take to um, have a successful or a complete case for defense or for or for you having to yourself you can properly handle your affairs. Just being truthful with yourself and your situations and know about what was going on and learning um, more so of things that we're teaching there about you growing in your civic knowledge and learning your state rules, statutes, codes, and etc. and the laws, and see how that all coexists with what you're dealing with. But that helps you understand and it helps you be capable of standing on your own and defending your own self in those settings and keep the money for yourself and you don't have to worry about hiring someone that could or can just get the check, and no matter what happens on the end result, they win because they're getting paid. Um, and that's not legal advice. Anything we talk about here is for spiritual, education, and entertainment purposes only. If you do feel like those things are deserving of legal advice and you can't handle it on your own, which you have the right to handle it on your own, then go seek legal advice. That's the advice I'm giving. But I promote you doing it yourself and learn it for yourself and self representation. So through the promotion code I have in there too, with so many people that use that link to get that self taught course. It's like a yearly course or a yearly payment for that course. I think it's like $250. Well worth it. Cheaper than anything you ever pay for dealing with the courts outside of your paperwork and pleadings. And give me one second. Okay, I'm back. And so would better have handled yourself in those manners, and that way you can take care of things and handle yourself in your proper manner, in your proper status, in your proper private persona, God given right. And we also have the Inner Circle LLC, and with that we have home repair and mobile mechanics in the South and North Carolina, serving those locations. Contact us there and see what you got going. And let us know what you got going on, how we can assist and help you in those matters. Also, we have the donation section where you can give to the channel in any way that you feel or see fit. And with that, you're able to give into a cause that will be worthy and something that if you're drawn to the channel, you already know that you're here because of you vibrated to this information or whatever. So um that's what we have in our description section. So go check out the things that we have offered and outside of the things we may talk about here and deal with on this channel and information um dealing with that. So um how are you and where have you gotten with your self mastery? How far have you made it and what things have you done to improve and grow within yourself? How have you made it to the point to where you're able to attain and get the things that are needed in your life through your spiritual growth and your spiritual understanding and awareness? Are you able to continuously grow and be honest with yourself about all the things and everything that's going on and the things you may examine and put up under the microscope? And get this, excuse me, I'm trying to get things right for TikTok as well. And if you're able to do those things, you're able to take and understand uh, what that's all about. So that is a source, I mean, a process that you'll continuously go through, and it's just like anything else with these processes or anything else that we talk about or teach here. It's a way of life and a way about moving, maneuvering, and actively growing. Um, so hopefully, you, like I said before, you was able to do that, and you're able to do those things, and that you're being nice, kind, and pleasant with yourself, um, and not hurting or hindering yourself. And I didn't put a caption up or no title up for my TikTok. I just went ahead and went live. So as we can continue to go into the night's talk. Um, I'm screaming on two sites right now. So for those that just joining the TikTok world, waiting on you guys to come in. I want to thank you for coming in. And we've talked about our spirituality and our spiritual growth. One of the main things that we do here on this channel and the ministry that we do on the other platform through uh, that we're on. You have to go to my profile and check out things like that because TikTok don't like you talking about other sites. But you can go on, make sure that my volume up. You can go on TikTok and go into my profile and check out other locations that we're at and that we stream at. But learning that your self mastery is something that's totally reliant on you and it's totally dependent on you. You grow in your spirituality and you grow in your godness that you know that you are the God and the creator of your life and all things that are surrounded by it, and you are therefore responsible. So God takes accountability for all actions, deeds done. Um, and it is accountable for all good and for all bad. Because the God that you are will deem one thing good and making the other thing bad, or deeming one thing bad and making the other thing good. Depending on what you deem one thing brings about the polar opposite for what this physical world exists in. This material world can only exist in those with those principles and those laws. So knowing that your higher consciousness, the essence that you really are, the energy force that you are, not the shell, uh, uh, the body, because the body returns back to the earth from which it came. So that is not what you are. It is just your house. Your house is not who you are. It's just a dwelling place for that is inside of the home. And so is the body for that, for what you are spiritually and consciously. So that part of yourself is what you're allowed to master the lower self and to conquer over the lower self and allowing those things to actually uh, be suppressed and starved out and not fed. So by not giving it energy, you can't give it life. That is the crucifixion that you'll go through that we may talk about here as well with the Christ consciousness, the picking up of your own cross and following Christ, having that Christ consciousness and that Christ understanding about the oneness of with God and one with the uh, being one with the source or being joined with the uh, collective consciousness and operating from that position. that you will have to kill your lower self or your former beliefs in order to grow into the next. And what that is just laying it down and not giving it no energy. Not saying that it wasn't truthful and that those truths that you live by did not render you in a result. But the results that you desire to have out of that. What's up, brother C King Pay and everyone else that's on TikTok? We'll get into a subject matter later here on TikTok. We'll be talking about the scroll man and its federal jurisdiction. But with all our channels and all the streaming that I do, we do it as a ministry here. So spirituality is one of the four and foremost things that we deal with for those to be catching up with or what we'll be talking about. But your Christ consciousness and laying down the carnal mindset and seeing things from a single eye or spiritual eye or bringing things up under the microscope, making your fluid eye singular, and bringing it up under a light where you can see things that you normally couldn't see from that physical or carnal mindset or from those fluid eyes. You're able to see it from the truth, by the truth being the single eye that everything is evaluated and viewed through, that you engage with or you involve yourself with, or you begin to see inside of yourself and your self mastery some of the inner workings of yourself and why you feel like there is a greater calling or a greater need for change and um or growth. And so you're at that point now, you understand that Christ consciousness is picking up your own cross, denying thyself and dying to that, and accepting the rule and regulations that you will become a tutor to up under your higher consciousness. Things will be brought and revealed to you in truth and understanding because you're seeking, asking, and knocking for them, and they'll be given, doors will be open, and you will receive them. You just have to receive them for what they are, um, and put them to the test throughout your life through experiences, and through those experiences can you come out with a fact based and not a belief based result. And a fact starts off as a belief, just like anything starts off with a belief. And your faith, what we would call here, is your faith is the ability to act upon that which you believe. It's just the ability to act upon it, and how much uh, you put into whatever you believe in and bringing it into fruition or putting your faith into it to believe it to produce or to bring about a result. That ability that if you're able to go all the way in and fully lock in and give it all your all, or you're able to give it 50, 70%, that measure of faith is given to each individual. I believe that the thing that you desire to do, you're able to give your all, your effort, no matter what results you may get. You may put all your efforts into a certain thing and it doesn't produce the thing that you thought it would. Or you can do some things and follow most of the time, follow the instructions so you have thought until you go back and re-examine that you messed up somewhere in the steps. But you could have swore you followed the instructions to the T and did not get the end result. Sometimes you can follow the instructions to the T and get an end result that you're not pleasing with, and you may not want to receive and reject that truth for that and begin to examine the process. But anyway, in your self mastery, your self growth, and growing into your Christ consciousness, these are the things that you evaluate and you deal with and be truthful with, and bring them up under that light. And once you see them in those lights, you can take those truths and then put them to experience. By your faith, you can show it should show you its works. Without faith, or where it says faith without works are dead. So you ask me about my faith, and I show you my works, and by my works you'll see my faith. So your ability to act upon those things, it should bring out those results while you putting your faith into it, should show you its workings. And believe the workings for what they show you that they are, if you're capable and able to. So we're gonna get into the subject matter for, like I say, the topic that we're talking about. It's coming to an understanding too for those that have heard about it, because most people don't hear about it unless it's something that just pops up randomly. But most time, people that hear about a strong man hear about it in various ways, in different ways, and different things you can do with it, and how it works, etc., etc. And we're gonna get down to some deep conversation about it, and give you some facts about it and some information about it that most time it's not given because it's not promotable or easy to sell or easy process. But the truth about the matter and some of the things from my experience and my understanding and knowledge about the straw man and his federal citizenship. Um, As I said on other previous videos, I first come across the information going through some legal processes and find out the legal processes wasn't working out or wasn't in the best interest for me, and that it wasn't the point that innocent or guilty or right or wrong had to be proven, but it was more so of procedural basis and uh, dealing with a situation where doing it improper procedure or somewhere in the procedure of dealing with the courts, you lose the case from improper filing or things of that nature. But anyway, and really realizing a couple things about uh, my mortgage whenever some things went through and with COVID had hit and payments and all this other stuff, and that it wasn't what I was taught or I perceived how mortgage and mortgage lenders and mortgage servicers work. So it got me to a lot of information about surety, security, securitization, credit, banking, trust, learning things about debt nature, learning about UCCs, learning about the straw man as well. It's saying it came up in the process of all this other stuff and fictitious entities and legal fictions and things of that nature. But the when I heard about it and got into it back in 2018, most of it was catered around a process or a manual called Cracking the Code, second and third edition, something like that. But in there, it's a process and a manual of things the guys did to using the straw man and a couple other processes to free himself of jail, whether there's an actual literal process of someone who actually did it and got out. I don't know. Haven't been able to find a court case or anything to support any of it. And really haven't looked too hard. So maybe that's something else I would do. What's up, Sister Corinne? Glad to see you here. She said, Happy Wednesday, everyone. She has two channels too, as well, for those that's on TikTok and on my YouTube. If you check her out on YouTube, she's got Above and Beyond with Corinne, where she gives you spiritual and practical life keys, tips, and through her experiences on how to live a more productive life or to grow in certain situations as well as we do here in this channel. Um, Spiritual base, more so not biblical base and all the way around, but it's still built spiritual principles. I use the biblical because that's a lot of the stuff that I'm familiar with and a lot of stuff that I've grown up with. But she has a great channel, great information. Um, she's raising a beautiful daughter now, her and her husband, but she still have clips and other things that she do. She hasn't went back live, so there's enough information on her channel that she's got over the last few years that you can go do some binge watching on and catch up. And also, she has money making daily income with Korean as well. That deals with money marketing and other ways that you can make money from home um, and allowing it to make money for you. So go check out those two channels, subscribe and like to them, and hit your notifications so you can keep up with the information that she provides there. Thank you for coming out, sis. Thank you for your support. Thanking Brother Steve and Baby as well. Love you guys to life and beyond, and all that you do. And I sent Brother Steve something by way of email completing that we talked about and he done for me. Did the editing and send it back. So let him know that he's free to do uh what he need to do now with it or contact me with any other questions. But back to the straw man, one of the main things outside of if I can think of some of the other things that they use it or other processes where straw man theories or the straw man processes can be used, but the basic of the straw man was to be able to see that within the Great Depression in 1933, Franklin Roosevelt and a couple more processes and a couple more policies and other things that was enforced to stabilize the economy during the Great Depression. The changing of the monetary system, making the Federal Reserve note the currency, taking all the gold out, the gold standard clause, and all that other stuff from HJR 192. And at that same time, making everyone or utilizing the 14th Amendment citizen, which is a federal citizen, and duplicating it with the state citizen, which all happen through volunteer. Your parents voluntarily involve yourself in the system by way of birth certificates. And then after they get the birth certificate is created on bond paper and all this other stuff. But it's created and it takes the private citizen or the private individual into a state citizenship instead of coming from your private capacity of having state and constitutional protected rights. You forfeit that by entering into their U.S. Um, systems and their jurisdiction and their citizenship and their taxations and all the other things of that nature. So you forfeit that by getting a birth certificate, and the state gives that to their partner, for lack of words, the federal government, and they are so much mimic that most of your state statutes, code, and laws are mimicked by federal statute codes and laws, even though they may be enforced through different um, bureaus or different entities or different things like through in conjunction with the DSS office or um, um, the things you deal with down at the county register. But however, there's a federal rule code in the agency that have protections for that federal citizen, and it also sort of protects the state citizen as long as the state citizen is receiving some type of benefit from their state that is funded by the federal government. So that all ties you into the federal jurisdiction, and the federal jurisdiction goes beyond the corporate United States and the world of commerce. There's commercial affairs, everything we deal with to our society, even our debts based society through negotiable instruments, and everything we deal with is for commercial purposes only. And so that jurisdiction stands through the state. It reaches through the state outside of the Washington and its 10 square miles, or the District of Columbia, that is also Washington and that 10 square mile, which is a district. It's a territory. It is not a state. Why? The capital is not in a state. It is a territory. It's another thing to understand too. It gets its own private corporate powers through the Constitution that protects the citizens, but they get its power through that through legislation and through Congress and all this other stuff. But it gets its hand into the jurisdiction by giving funds to states and certain organizations and and other things that the common people use for benefits and privileges that's offered by the state. Social Security, welfare, unemployment, Section 8, some places like the Medicaid and Medicare, things of that nature. And Social Security, paying into that, and all the other things you do with your taxes as an employee. But those agencies and those industries um, and give federal jurisdiction outside of your public or your public mailbox, which gives them jurisdiction to you as well. But the straw man was able or brought upon the scene and to be recognized as the straw man as a legal fiction um, and a fiction of law. And the concepts are brought through that and all the other things that were brought through after the Great Depression, as I was talking about earlier, with the Banking Act, the bankers' holidays, with the Social Security Administration being put into play, the establishing of Fort Knox, um, and how birth certificates became a legal, had to do thing, and how they viewed and looked at the public debt and how the public debt was now going to be basically paid off of the future labor of the taxes of the citizens, which are based off of the social security number and the damn birth certificate. But nevertheless, The straw man, which is a federal citizen, and if you look it up, like I said, I didn't bring too many receipts because this was a conversational piece, and we do some more of that in our Inner Circle University membership private group as well. But you, whenever you're born and you get that birth certificate, you're automatically born a national of that state, born into that state that you're in, and whether you create your own birth certificate to getting one from them determines if you remain a private individual or a private citizen. The statutory private citizen is not the same way as you would see a private citizen. But the Amish, the Jewish, and a bunch more other people, and a bunch of people like myself and others who has delineated themselves and through their religious standpoint has been able to delineate that and separate themselves from either or and receive the protective rights that come from both. But um, with that citizenship that you're giving, once you apply for that birth certificate and get that social security number, there is a straw man created. There is the all capital fictitious entity. Because once you understand a little bit more about how it works, the government can't actually do business with the actual person. They have to do it through entities that are able to be like a person, in which when you deal in legal terms, you understand a person can be a trust, a company, a corporation, and a bunch more other things that can be sued and sue and be treated as if a person. So the corporation of the United States and its territories that it owns through treaties and actually purchased, and places like Guam, Guatemala, Hawaii, and a couple more peninsulas and other things like that that they actually possess is their jurisdiction and their territory. And those type citizens are given into that federal citizenship through way of birth certificate and getting the social security number. Also by way of volunteering and claiming to be the U.S. citizen on all your paperwork that you fill out. Because there's a lot of paperwork and things that you would need to say, or that you would like to have in this life to have certain things, as far as a driver license and certain other things. You're going to have to be a U.S. citizen, open up bank accounts in a sense. You got to be a U.S. citizen or a U.S. person, understanding that legal jargon as well by being one of those entities or one of person. But getting a passport, getting loans or getting benefits, or even to an extent getting those credentials, you're going to have to say if you want their social security number or their social security card, which actually belongs to them, or if you want their birth certificate, their certified copy of your live birth record, then you're gonna have to pay them, and that is their information, and that is their federally created entity. So when you understand about someone having a claim or putting a charge or putting a lien on you, they're not putting it on you, they're actually putting on the straw man and the social security number. And you being surety or being the backing or the responsible party for this federal citizen that you volunteered into, then you're responsible for all debts. But in 1933, with the gold repeal, there was some things showed in there where since they was using the gold standard now and changing the gold standard and change the currency to Federal Reserve note, it made the United States corporation responsible for all debts, public and private, for the use of the Federal Reserve note, taking the obligation of the debt, putting it on him that owns and not him that uses or asserts. We know that possession is 9/10 of the law, but when you're dealing with certain things, who owns has ownership, the liability on it. Somebody break in my home, steal my pistol, and do a crime. If they don't have the individual on camera, they find my gun and find out that it's registered and find out it was mine, that I'm the party in the interest of my possession. Even though I wasn't in possession of it when that thing happened, I'm still responsible for it. So they're still responsible for the debt that is promised to be owed or paid back by using those Federal Reserve notes, which at one time was supposedly supported by the gold that was in Fort Knox, but which now is the people, the good faith and credit of the people are on YouTube because it's going out. flickered and let know they were going in and out. So if I'm not on um, YouTube, maybe someone will let me know that we've lost connection. But but understanding that fictitious entity or that thing was created off of your birth certificate and separating yourself from that, the whole main purpose of it was returning yourself back to your private status of a private individual, not a private state citizen or a private federal citizen or a public citizen or federal citizen. But putting yourself back in your jurisdiction, and if you're in their jurisdiction, having and controlling your own uh, persons in the game. Okay, great, great. Long hope they keep going. I don't know why the internet dropped. But if you want to create your own piece into the game, whereas that piece controls everything and you no longer own anything, but you're able to shift and change everything that you have in your private capacity into into your corporate entity or your corporate person. And you now control it by putting a stop to the federal straw man by not using or utilizing the social for creating any more debits and other processes of discharging and erasing the debt and promises of getting into the account and zeroing out the account, uh, collapsing the trust account, no, dissolving the trust account, dissolving the trust, collapsing the account, and zeroing out the account and taking all the money that is in that you put in or they may have been put in or the credits that are allowed to you in that social security number and that account attached to it and paying off your debts. That's really not what it's about. I think there was other shit that was added on later on, but people seen a way that that may have been profitable in a way for you to utilize it. But the process when you get into it, like I say, I caught my nose wide open on the shit too but finds out that that's not how things work. That's not how law work, and that's not how trust work, and that's not how the process can even remotely work. Um, but there's methodology to different things in that process that can be done properly. Um, I believe that can be executed properly, and that's for a different thing and for the private meeting as well. But separating yourself from that fictional straw man character, bringing you out of the jurisdiction and not doing anything stupid to put yourself back in there, like going back out into the public and saying that you don't have to pay no taxes because there's no rules and no laws, but you're using your social security number for a job or sole proprietorship. You're running a business or a entity and doing business as yourself using the social as the creator of that thing, then you're putting yourself at risk of tax liability and not trying to do your 1099s or your proper W-2 forms and doing your proper taxes. You're going to find yourself in some legal trouble with that shit. And trying to get into an account that you didn't create should be something else that should draw some alarm to make you think, how can you operate, control, and collapse an account that really doesn't belong to you because it has all the identity and the makings that you would claim that would be yours as for the social security number, which if you read on the back of the card, it'll tell you it's not your card, it's theirs, and not to use it. It's not to be used for identification purposes, only for accounting and for the Social Security Administration, which they do not use for the intention it was made for now. It's just a big ass investment group for the wealthy and the congressmen to use to funnel money through for themselves and to give the people who actually contributed to the Social Security Administrative pennies on the dollar and not enough at the end of it for them to sustain a livable life while the others that have taken that money can live a substantial, lovely, great life. And their kids don't have to worry about damn retirement. They don't have to work. But that's the basis and the thing behind that straw man and understanding the reason behind it is to be able to see that it is connected to a 14th Amendment citizen used for the purpose of taxation, and those taxations are used for the future and pledged for the future labor, full faith and credit of the United States corporation. The dollar is backed by the full faith and credit of the individuals through taxation, um, mm, through way of future labor on taxations and estimating that amount and allocating funds to be created for borrowing or the reason for creating money outside of banking When the government create money, that's what they're doing. They are using the faith and credit of the people of the United States, the citizens of the United States, federal or state citizens, and able to borrow off of that collateral. But this is some of the basis of that as well. But learning that and learning how to get yourself back to your private status, that is something you need to understand. And that way you won't get caught up in those schemes, no gimmicks, and no quick remedies and selling you shit of false hope and dreams of being able to do something with that straw man that doesn't belong to you. There's nothing in law that's going to allow you to take something that doesn't belong to you. Even with squatter laws, let's check that out real quick. Even with squatter laws here in South Carolina, it's going to take you 10 years of fixing that house up, living in that house, allowing everyone in the neighborhood that may pass by the owner or anyone else know that you're living in that house. The reason they do that is saying if the owner see that you stay there, haven't came to bother you, haven't came to stay and did anything to you, and you spent your time, energy, and resource in fencing up, protecting, upkeep, and taxes, paying the taxes and the upkeep on that property, putting lights and water and getting those things in 10 years, you can have that deed and rewrite the deed and have it done for yourself, and that can become your property, squatter right. But even with that, it takes time. And so you can't just legally have a quick fix where you can take ownership of somebody else's shit. About like I can't use your collateral. I can't take your car and use it for collateral on a loan for me from the bank. I'm gonna have to have it titled in my name. So just because it looks like it doesn't mean anything. I can have trust and everything set up in my daughter's name, my son's name, my wife's name, but that doesn't give them the right to go into the bank and do anything with that damn account if they're not already written up as authorized users, or if they have been given a card to be used as an authorized user, giving them permission to go into the account, even if they're on there as authorized users to help build their credit profiles. That's another free tip for you as well. Make your kids and make your other close loved one that you're in community with and that you're growing with. And if you have great credit on cards, accounts, or whatever, allow them to be authorized users on it and give them that same credit history that you have. But screen your people. Do them just like the credit card companies would do. Screen the individuals for the help and see what their damn credit history is like. As far as with them being personal managers of money or whatever, protect yourself. But there's nothing they can do to hurt it, but you can only help with that information. But returning your access and returning everything back to the private, understanding that that is a real thing, that is a federal jurisdiction, and handling and doing certain things through that Social Security number has statute codes, rules, even in the UCC and everything else of how to uh, handle and deal with those things and how they're going to be handled and the way you can operate in and without those. And yes, are there other loopholes and things like that inside the system? Yes, but those are not. That's a big leap and stretch. But getting more depth and detail and learning more about the languages and learning a lot more about what goes on into what we call the public society, how things work with our government, how things should work and how they should work compared to their constitutional um, trust and indenture for their operation of the government outside of the policies that they create inside of the different uh, principalities that they use. You know, the IRS still have their certain policies. Social Security has their certain policy. The Treasury have their certain policy. Congress, legislator, executive, legislator, the laws, the Senate, your state representatives, all those have policy and procedures that go by all the way down to the sheriff, county, to the clerk recorder, county recorder, and the record of deeds. The damn highway department, they all have their policy and procedures. And a lot of times those things that are normalized in those policy and procedures are not what they would call positive law or supported by the Constitution. They're just laws or statutes and codes portrayed as laws and passed as laws, ordinance and codes. So learning a lot about that and understanding that stuff there help you stay out of being caught up with everything that's going out there and everything that's going on. Um, just like I said in a nutshell, the first thing about or to understand about the straw man was to understand what was going on, how things work, and how your private information is utilized to furnish and um, fund the world and the economy, not the world, but the United States economy and whatever else it has going on. And understanding how you can remain in the private and keep all your rightful financial things and be able to keep your own personal freedom and not have to worry about exchanging your freedom for a debt or going to jail for some other bullshit. Just, living your life and doing things and being able to attain a wealthful life for yourself where everything isn't about taxation. Say that for the citizens, not for the private individual, not for the United States of America nationals, not for the South Carolinian nationals. You know, different in that too, and understanding statuses and things of that nature. But so for those that came and joined me on YouTube, thank you for coming out. As I always tell you, thank you, love you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your interest in yourself because there's something in yourself that draws you here. And may the information be applied in your life in a way that's profitable to you and not none that's gonna harm you. From the spiritual to this educational um, entertainment section of the Scrum Man. And for those on TikTok, thank you as well. I'll be taking cliplets of the last two lives that I've done and put them up, making clips and put them up on TikTok. Um, Feel free to like and comment, share, or whatever it is, questions or opinions. Whenever I put up the clips, you can, if you're watching live, you can come back and leave your comment, thoughts, and opinions, views, as long as they're shared with great intent, no malice or no bullshit accepted. That'll be discarded no matter um, what the answer is or what the question is. If the question can be answered, I will answer it. And if I can't answer, I tell you I can't answer it. But what I will not is answer negative bullshit energy. I ain't with it. So handle yourself properly. Everything is to educate. Everything here is to uplift each other. All information that we give here so far is free, and it's for the betterment of the individuals. It's not for the uplifting of one and the belittling of another. Um, because what your smart ass may know, there's another smart ass that know more than your dumb ass really know. So don't become too much of a smart ass, dumb ass. So be wise and be kind in all that you do and all that you say and what you think and your views and opinion about it. And like I say, if you have proof and receipts with things that you talk about as well, you can bring them. We can maybe set up another channel, another show, another time, and talk directly about that subject. But this is another topic and a subject I'll be pushing and promoting or bringing and teaching about the subjects because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So look forward to more educational things like this right here, inspirational, spiritual, entertainment purpose information. Thank you guys for all coming out. Love you guys. Um, to either one of them, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, become a follower, get notifications, etc., etc. But can't catch me here on TikTok every Wednesday. I will be on YouTube. So if I don't stream here, you can catch me there. And I'm gonna work on getting different times for different platforms anyway, and not have mirror image information. But thank you, love you. Those in TikTok, there's an incentives in my profile and stuff for those that do subscribe to the channel, like and become members and things of that nature. There's discounts as well for the Inner Circle University. As I say, you check in my my profile and get some of that information on some of my other videos. Or search on YouTube and get that information as well. But I'm searchable and Googleable. Love you guys. You guys have a great night. Until next time, peace, love, prosperity, extreme health, and extreme wealth to everyone. Peace to all the gods.